rookie bartenders. 20%, no droids and bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. I will put a link to the fundraiser in the description. I didn't get a lot of headway, but every little bit helped. I want to thank everybody, including the anonymous donor who was extremely generous for contributing to the little fund to help me build my studio up in my office so I'm not down here in the kitchen. That doesn't mean to say that I won't be going live from the kitchen sometimes. I will, but there you go. Anyway, so yesterday, after we discovered the wonderful news, in my opinion, that Michelle Redwan had basically resigned, or was, let's be honest, was fired from her job as Senior Vice President for development of live and production of live shows for Lucasfilm. And she's got a producer's gig. Big deal. Doesn't mean they're ever going to do anything with it. And it said both Lucasfilm and Disney. So that doesn't necessarily mean that she will be working. My washer's off. Let me do that when I'm done. I can't leave this window. I'm on my phone. Okay, so I will put a link in the description. Okay, and we will. I will let you see it there. Okay, remind me. Okay. Anyway. It looks to me like she got basically the same deal that Carrie Hart did. Now, and I think that she got the boot like Carrie Hart did too. You were incompetent. You okayed this mess. Look what you did to Boba Fett. Look what you did to Obi-Wan. And now it's, she's gone. The thing with Carrie Hart was Carrie Hart did work for another studio at Disney. After being dumped by Lucasfilm, she was a consultant on Luca and a consultant on Soul for Pixar. So she's been there. I basically wrote down the talking points for Redwan's biography: Columbia University, General Studies. Job, she immediately got a job with J.J. Abrams, and she ended up associate producer for Super 8. Then she suddenly catapulted from that to TFA, and then from there to The Rise of Palpatine. And then in 2019, she was given a job at Lucasfilm, because she was there, but she didn't work directly for Lucasfilm. The Senior Vice President for Live Action Development and Production. And now she's no more. To me, it's patently obvious that there's something going on here. Okay. The picture that headline from Hollywood Reporter back in 2015. I know who all those women are. I looked today. Vicki Beck, Lori Altman, Janet Lewin, Rhonda Hjort, Pippa Anderson, Lin-Wen Brennan, and Blair Chaput. Names we all know. They were the inner circle. There's another picture. Oh, and Rain Roberts is in that too. And so is Carrie Beck. There's another picture, you can see it in the upload, where it's the story group: Carrie Hart, Lin-Wen Brennan, Carrie Beck. All right. And you see these other women. I think Rhonda Hjort is in that, and it's supposed to be the story group. And as far as I can tell, Rhonda Hiort is a lawyer. I don't know. I don't get it. You're going to see a lot of changes coming. These names won't be there very long, in my opinion. And this is the first salvo. Now, let's talk about what we haven't heard. There could be people gone already, just haven't gone public with it. Okay. And I am going to say this. I said this in my upload, and that's going to come up later. I think Pablo Hidalgo was demoted last year. He took off his employment at Lucasfilm. He bitched and moaned that people pointed it out. Why did you do that? Put it back on, but it says consultant. He doesn't have story group in it at all. Okay? That's it. So if he is merely consulting, that is a demotion. That's back to where he was in 2012 before George sold. So it's all, there's a lot of movement going on. But I do think they're getting ready now to make some sort of announcement. And when I say sooner, just because they say she's retiring doesn't mean it's going to be the date. No, she doesn't. She's not protecting these people anymore. Look, KK threw Carrie Hart under the bus. Okay. She's probably trying to blame J.J. Abrams for how bad the films have done. I've noticed that are you guys aware of the hullabaloo going on about Glass Onion? When they first had it, it was only going to go to Netflix, and if it had gone straight to Netflix and not been exhibited at theaters, it would not be eligible for an Oscar, which is fine by me. Ryan Johnson and a bunch of other people had fits about it. So they're doing a limited release, I think, in like London and New York and LA. Okay. This is just enough to get it to the Oscars. The person who was retweeting it, on Twitter was Frank Marshall. I'm going to say that Kennedy has turned Ryan Johnson into her sad little boy who got abused by us, the fans. And they're trying to get him all the help he can get because look, I'm sorry, but you can't abuse the fans the way he did and not have blowback, not get bitten back, okay? And what happened to him with the fans is all his fault. But now they're trying to get a wider release for Glass Onion. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to see that. Who wants to see that? Do you want to see that? No. So it's J.J. Abrams, his Padawan, who has, look, her, if you go into IMDb and look up her Rejwan's resume, it is that thin. Okay, it is that thin. Oh, I think he is. But I also think they really do have a love relationship because he goes out of his way to defend her. So, I guess there's somebody for everybody. And he seems like a really good guy. Okay, like I've described them as the couple in the neighborhood. He's great and she's a bitch, or she just doesn't have any self-awareness. When you look at the picture from the Hollywood Reporter, I am affronted by that. And they make it, when you read the article, they make it like those are the real leaders at Lucasfilm. There aren't any men anywhere. What? Okay. I have a problem with that. Okay. Everything from 2013 on was a basically turning the pot up of water. Oh, I think he does it because he wants to, just some other guy. Look, I don't look at her as being the psychopath that she's been portrayed by others. I look at her as someone who isn't aware of the things that she's done and of herself. She is not really socially couth, if you know what I mean. She isn't aware enough of herself to let other people talk. I mean, we saw her try to run over John Favreau, or I can't remember who it was, and John basically had to stop her and say, let's all talk in a circle. Everybody gets a chance, to stop her from stepping on people's toes. Okay. She's not that bright. She's been protected. She's being protected right now. Okay. And I honestly think it's part of the just make her go away deal. Just go away on Disney's behalf. That they don't, I mean, they're like, as long as you leave. And really, I mean, and she's afraid. You know, she is afraid of the fans. She's afraid of I think who she is and who people think she is and who she is are two different things. All right, it's like anybody. Okay. People look at her, I look at her strictly as incompetent. Not necessarily a mouth breathing harpy dragon lady, but I look at Kennedy as a serial crazy leftist, first off. Most women her age are. I look at her as a person who's very nice, but also very stupid. Okay. She's been given opportunities that other women never had because of who she networked with. When Spielberg and Lucas and Scorsese and Coppola and all those, I don't think she ever worked for Francis Eastwood back in the day in the 70s and 80s. They were the young guns, okay, in Hollywood. And she recognized that right away. So it's not that she's ambitious enough to know who to put her money on, if you know what I mean. Who to hitch her wagon to, okay? And they basically helped her go on and protected her the entire way. I mean, when you hear some of the, like Steven Spielberg, you know, he didn't exactly, I think, give her a ringing endorsement. I think he likes her, but he didn't give her a ringing endorsement. You know, never heard Eastwood say anything about her, never heard Scorsese or Zemeckis, and trust me, I could probably get the skinny on what Zemeckis thinks. All right, I probably could. You know, and of course, she totally befouled George and fucked him over. And it's not that she did it intentionally. You have to understand. Bob Iger bought Lucasfilm strictly to make money. Didn't give a shit what they put out there. Yeah, and I think there were people out there that let her think that. Other women who wanted to believe the bullshit and the mythology ran with it. And she was like, okay, that's what I think happened. But when she went to Lucasfilm, or to Disney with Lucasfilm, she fully intended, I think, on doing what she said she was going to do. Protecting Han, Luke, and Leia, making the universe bigger, but keeping in with what George wanted. She gets there, and she runs into Bob Iger and that old fuzzball, Alan Horn, who had no intention of keeping up their end of the bargain. None. Zero. See, point, nothing. They looked at Lucasfilm as, you could take a piece of shit, stamp Star Wars on it, and the fans will come. It doesn't matter what it has. And Bob Iger at the time was already entertaining thoughts of running for president, but I hate to tell him, short people don't win. Our best presidents were always tall, okay? And so he started to say, okay, you know, we want to make this more diverse and more representation. And Kennedy, being woke as she is, but also weak, and this is in 2013, when she realized that Disney did not want to continue with George's script treatments. I mean, when you look at her in the beginning of any of my videos, you've got her defending, or basically telling George without looking at him. She already knew they were taking the knife to his back. All right. She couldn't look at him. She only looks at him once and then looks away. That's an indication. It is not an indication of her intentions. It is an indication of what the suits have told her they wanted to do. Okay? And, you know, when she didn't bite back, she didn't say, I'm not going to do this. I made a promise to George, and I'm not going to let you, you know, misrepresent the franchise and, you know, milk, you know, kill the golden goose, which is what they did. Because look, George has always been right. There's an interview where he says, and he was talking to Robert Redford, among other people, yeah, she did. She's a stupid, she's clever, but she's not bright. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Smart enough to see where hitching your wagon to somebody like Spielberg was going to take you. George says, I'm going to paraphrase him, studio executives are not sophisticated. Alan Horn, my dog, is more sophisticated than he is. My dog is more sophisticated than Bob Iger. Okay. Kennedy isn't as sophisticated as Kojak is. Okay. She, I think, went into the job fully intending to respect George's wishes. Hey, Mikey, how are you? So, she fully intended to do this and was so basically put on the burner by the executives at Disney that she folded like origami, okay? And she actually did want more women involved. Here's the deal. I'm going to say this as a woman who wanted to be a performer in front of the cameras and wanted to sing. Now no one's ever going to want to hear this voice. Before I got sick, I wanted to not only sing, But I also wanted to be a movie. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to go to Hollywood and run them all over. I also wanted to learn how to make movies. Okay. Most women who are in Hollywood, I think that was her intention. Again, I don't think she's mean. I think she could be easily misled. I think the whole thing with Gina Carano was the story group and her little butt buddy, Pablo, etc., misleading her. Look, how many people here have ever seen the Cane Mutiny? Put a 1 in the chat. Captain Queeg is batshit crazy. He has intentions of being a great, he has a minesweeper called the USS Cane. And he's nuts, okay? And instead of trying to protect him and help him, his officers basically mutiny. And at the end, Jose Ferrer, Mike, you've got to see this movie. Humphrey Bogart plays Queeg. And he's fabulous. I mean, he's so great. Hey, Cross Element. And Jose Ferrer plays the lawyer that basically gets the guys acquitted. They're all being court-martialed, okay? And he basically says, if you had done your job, none of this I wouldn't have had to come and defend you. I didn't do my job because I thought you were right. I did my job because I thought I had to. I was given the job. But you people screwed your boss over, okay? Now, where am I going with this? Kennedy gets the job, fully intends to go in and make George's trilogy. Is told, no, we're shit canning these by Iger, Horn, and the rest of these human dumpster fires. Kennedy, meanwhile, thinks, I'd like to see more women make movies and get into development and production. Only 25% of the people in Hollywood that actually do camera stuff, do all that stuff, the heavy work behind the scenes, 25% are women. And the reason why is because a camera's heavy, okay? And women want to be out in front. Now, being a producer is a little bit different, but she wanted to see women everywhere and directing and all the rest of that shit. And she thought Lucasfilm would be a good base to run with it. Now, did she hire the best people for the job? No. Carrie Hart, flaming SJW, man-hating racist. Okay, no merit whatsoever. Gets a job because she's a black woman. On and on and on and on. Kennedy is intimidated by men. There's a great picture of, and I think I used it in a video once, of her with her arms like this, defensive. And it's the making of Schindler's List. Liam Neeson's looking down at her. He's really tall. She's shorter than I am. Okay. And, oh yeah, you do. I mean, just some other guys, right? And she was intimidated by him. Okay. So she's not, and I'll tell you something about J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Mitch McConnell. I don't like him. I don't think he should be the Republican leader anymore in the Senate, etc., etc. Okay? They promise you grandiose things. They make up problems, and you all get concerned about it. They never fix those problems, and they never keep their promises. J.J. Abrams, give me your money. I will make this fabulous movie with all these great mystery boxes. The movie sucks The mystery boxes are never opened and solved. There you go. He is a politician. But he's easily worked with because he's about as masculine as a neutered guppy. Okay. In fact, you see a little guppy swimming around with crazy black hair and black horn glasses, and that's JJ. Then she hires Ryan Johnson. He turns in a first draft. Carrie Hart, the token diversity hire, says this is great on the first draft. Kennedy, being incompetent, not being that interested in what she's doing, and having full faith in the little beta male roundhead, go for it. And Iger, knowing he can control Kathy, lets her do it. And instead of making a movie that actually answered the questions that JJ had out there about who Ray is, etc., etc., Johnson never intended to answer them. And Kennedy was perfectly fine with that. It's like they're like two different movies and two different storylines, if you think about it. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. And the movie made what, 1.3 billion. But if JJ, and I'm going to say this, The Force Awakens made what, 2.3 billion or something? Okay. They brought back about 700 million, which ain't that much. Okay. It's the only movie that really actually made money in this whole tragic story. I've had people look at the numbers and they don't think that The Force Awakens or that TLJ made money. They think it might have broke even. That's how kind of bad it did. It only did 20 million in China. Now, the rationalizers will go, well, the Chinese were really never into Star Wars. You know what they were bitching about? You have ugly people in this. I can't imagine who they were talking about. Adam Driver? But Kennedy didn't see what was going on, and it was Force Awakens is not well received. Really. You have to fix what JJ broke. None of that was addressed. She was allowed to scamper off with, you know, the Last Jedi. And when that came out, and Iger, apparently from rumors, is horrified by the way the fans responded, you know, was like, do I have to actually take control of this? Solo comes out. Solo. And Solo, I call it the curse of Han Solo. You kill off Han, this is what happens. The curse of Solo Skywalker. Okay, you fuck up Luke, this is what happens. Solo was a movie that if they were going to make it, they should have done it right. They didn't. You get John Kasdan, nepotism, Daddy writing for him. You get the wrong actor to play Han. And you get two directors who their resume was this thin, that thin, never should have been allowed anywhere near a live action movie. They fucked it up, okay? Everything was fucked up. Everybody involved with the production was fucked up. $225 million budget. And I know for a fact somebody like Ridley Scott could have done it for $100 million and put out something great. I know Christopher Nolan could have. I know Sam Raimi could have. You know, you name Quentin Tarantino. But no, we have to have Lord and Miller, who are, when I saw them interviewed, I'm like, this is going to be horrible. They're horrible. And they were. And then it was woke. Okay. It was woke. Iger sees the budget exploding. Kennedy going, oh, this isn't really what I wanted. After 80% of the movie was in the can. This is where Iger said, I made a mistake. I never should have let her run this stuff on her own. She has no fucking clue what she's doing. If she's working with someone, Spielberg, her husband, George Lucas, any of those guys, Kennedy is fine. The moment she gets away from them and is on her own, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Okay, this is where the mythology just, you know, crashes, gets set on fire. The fans obviously started blaming her for it. There were calls to fire her in 2018, like in January. Oh, Solo can easily be eradicated. Just do a whole new origin story, and you know, because that many people actually saw it, and the people who did were horrible. It's horrible, you know. There were rumors that actually Iger was looking for someone to replace her. Her contract was up. Couldn't find anybody. And so they gave her a new contract. Everybody was like, damn it. But the reason why no one wanted the job, in the middle of a trilogy that was mortifying, let her finish it, let it get finished under her fucking name. And the way that she led Lucasfilm was, you know, she's off sunning herself somewhere, and the rats are partying like rock stars, treating the fans like shit, etc., etc. Never before in my life have I ever seen a professional, anybody in a business where you have to be a professional, behave the way the Lucasfilm Story Group. Do I believe John Lasseter might have been somebody being looked at to take over Lucasfilm? Could have been. And he wasn't a guy to fuck with either, okay? Do I think that maybe she has something to do with him getting fired for railroaded? I think she knew about it. I think it was very convenient that he suddenly got Me Too'd. Okay. So, you know, a viable choice who had worked for George Lucas before, who made some of the greatest animated stories of all time, and gets canceled and Me Too'd right as a door was opening for him to go in and really show who he really was as a filmmaker and leader. Okay, very convenient for Kennedy. Do I think she's conniving? Yeah. Well, you know, I think that she's very prideful. I think she's very aware of her persona and the mythology built around her. I also think that maybe on this trip, she and Frank had heart-to-hearts about reality. And reality is, the last 10 years, she has fucked everything up. Okay? So now we're to the place where we've got somebody she hired. Oh yeah, Jonathan is right. He's right. Now we come to the place where somebody she hired in that was hired in 2019, but had been there in the background. Michelle Rejwan was fired. Look, don't agree with me, I don't care. She didn't step down, she was fired. She got the same deal. That Carrie Hart did. Oh, I think she did too, Dungar, but I'm not sure anymore. So we've got, I'll give you the names. Lin-Wen Brennan, watch, see what happens. Carrie Beck probably will stay. Candace Campos. Then we've got this diversity inclusion woman, Queen Denchoku. Her name is Queen. Okay. The head of diversity and inclusion. Teresa Helmer, social and digital. Oh yeah, I mean, Mike is right. We've got Rain Roberts. Rain Roberts right now apparently is helping Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant develop The Acolyte. If she had, then that'll probably save her, Chris, or that'll probably save her. But then we've got Vicky Beck, Lori Altman. These are all the women in that picture. Janet Lewin, we've all heard about her. Rhonda Hjort, who's a lawyer. Pippa Anderson, and Blair Chaput. A lot of these people may stay, but here are the women to watch. Rain Roberts, Lin-Wen Brennan, any of these people really. They've been part and parcel to this. They've helped foster the anti-fan SJW shit. We'll see. Michelle Rejwan's departure opens up a whole can of possibilities. And I absolutely agree with Cameron. If she was let go, fired, stepped down, whatever they want to call it, that things may be accelerating. And again, it is not that on the 31st, which will be a week, I think, from Monday, of October, that Kathy Kennedy will announce she's leaving and leave. It is that they will announce her retirement. And it will be a long transition, okay? Because there's probably a deal for Indy 5. She gets to stay there. President Emeritus of Lucasfilm until that movie is in the theaters. Okay, but the fact we will probably hear something about where she's going or what's happening. And the reason is this. Michelle Rejwan was a big deal. She's a BFD, okay? She may have been the person that I think it was Tom Connors was told was actually worse than Kennedy. Okay, because again, Kennedy's an idiot. She's clever, but she's not smart. Very nice person. Very far to the left, like everybody in Hollywood is. Not strong at all, no backbone of steel. She's no Miranda Priestley. And she's very easily manipulated by the people around her. And when I say that, I mean Pablo Hidalgo, Lin-Manuel Brennan, and of course the people above her, the execs at Disney. Okay, because again, I'm going to say this: she didn't intend to not make. I don't think the only person I think that she's helping, I think actually is Ryan Johnson. Okay, again, she never intended not to make George's movies. She was too weak to stand up to Iger and say, I made a promise to George Lucas. I intend to keep it. We have to make these. This was the deal. Okay. If she had stood her ground with them, we might not be talking about her in this way. But she's weak. Okay. She's not the shield maiden that mythology has created her to be. Like when I hear people say, she was on the phone saying this nonsense will stop and it will stop right now. She never said that. She just, look, she's, I don't, when I saw her back down from Jon Favreau, that was when they were having that roundtable. That was all I needed to see. She's not a strong person. Okay. She likes to hear her gums flap. And she's a feminist, but she doesn't know how to get her point across without sounding like an angry, even if she's nice, harpy. And the people working for her are those. It was one of those. They have those talks with the directors and everything, and it's on Disney Plus. So after the first season of The Mandalorian, and she's sitting there with Dave and John and some other people, and all of a sudden she starts flapping her gums, and he's like, no, we're all gonna go around the table, and we're all get a chance to talk here. So he is very nice to her, but he was like, all right. He didn't do the Harrison Ford glare that she earned at Star Wars Celebration. And I gotta tell you, man, and I missed it. I missed Rejwan. This story is 2 days old. Okay, Cameron missed it. I got a text from him yesterday talking about it. Just keep your eyes open. I scour Hollywood Reporter. I scour Deadline. Yes, he did. You're right, just some other guy. I scour Variety. And I always remember to try to be consistent. But what has evolved is who I think she is. And when I say the Empress has no clothes, she has no clothes. Okay? And it's not what she says. It's not the mythology, the women in the picture built up around the woman. It is what she's produced. And it ain't good. Okay? And Michelle Rejwan is the first departure from all this. Seeing that she was hired in 2019, I'm going to let you guys go with this, really kind of makes me think that it's kind of like a Peter Rice thing. Who's the person who's giving you the most trouble? Who's the person who's standing in everybody's way? Who is the biggest obstacle to progress? All right, and they're gone. Michelle Rejwan is gone. Okay, will she produce anything for Lucasfilm, Disney? She'll have her name on stuff because it's already done. It's already going. But as far as her being part of the leadership, no more. No. And to be honest, I'm going to say this again. The person replacing Kennedy is at Lucasfilm right now. And he is going to start. Oh, yes, he is. He very much is just some other guy. And he is going to start moving the chess pieces to getting what he wants as far as what he wants to do. I'm going to say this, it's not that a woman couldn't run Lucasfilm. It is that woman couldn't run Lucasfilm. Okay? That woman. The story group's been real quiet ever since Kenobi came out. They're not really saying anything at all to anybody. It's pretty much fans arguing now about Andor. And this last episode was great. I give it all, it was good. No woke. But the first 5 smelled of wokeness. Or first 6 smelled of wokeness. Okay? And that's the problem with it. It's very subtle, it's very nuanced, but it's there. Okay? And it was boring as hell. Anyway. So, what do I think is going to happen? Keep your eyes open for the next person to leave. And if it's Lin-Wen Brennan, then we know Kennedy's done. We know she will be on her way out. The Michelle Rejwan departure is like the gate opening and the flood happening. Anyway, I gotta go because I gotta clean my kitchen. I'm having people over tomorrow night, so get the house in tip-top shape. See you guys around the galaxy. Behave, be safe. And I won't. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.